If you thought Alpine was all about sporty coupes, think again. Ever since the brand was dragged from its own ashes by Renault back in 2017, it's only really had one car to speak of, the A110 sports car. But that's all about to change with this. It's called the A290, and it is essentially a Renault R5 E-Tech that has been in the microwave for a little while. And as you can see, it has popped during its time in there. It's got this new, more muscular design, these huge arches and this wider stance. But there's also some hints to Alpine's heritage. There's this sort of snowflake pattern down in the grille down here and in the alloy wheels, all of which hark back to the roads on which Alpine's cars were designed to thrive. But perhaps the most obvious hint to Alpine's heritage comes from the headlights. Alpine's put these 4 X graphic lights in as a kind of nod to its rallying past. The X's are supposed to look like the tape you got on the spotlights of the old A110s when they took them on the hills of Monte Carlo. But despite these slightly blocky designs and the slightly blocky design of the Renault 5, Alpine says aerodynamics are at play here as well. You've got these air intakes in here, there's a ducktail spoiler at the back, and there are these massive side skirts, all of which are designed to help the car cut through the air that little bit more cleanly. Those aerodynamics are important, especially in a small electric hatchback like this, because to be honest, the battery in this isn't that big. At 52 kilowatt hours, it's very slightly smaller than the battery in this thing's closest rival, the new electric Mini Cooper. And that means you get a range of around 380 kilometers, which is very slightly less than you'll get from the Mini. That said, we don't know exactly how much it's going to be as yet. At the time of filming, this is still in homologation, so those figures could change. What we do know is that you're going to get a choice of 2 electric motors. You can have the basic 180 horsepower one, or you can have the 220 horsepower one. Both of those drive the front wheels, and they both come from the Renault Megane E-Tech. But obviously, there will be a bit of a difference in performance. We do know that the 220 horsepower one will offer you 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in about 6.5 seconds, which is on a par with hot hatchbacks such as the i20N and Ford Fiesta ST, God rest its soul. Alpine calls the interior of the A290 a cockpit, and everything in here is very driver orientated. You get this screen that's angled towards you and comes with all sorts of Google powered aids to help you plan your journeys and work out where you're going to charge. You also get a huge digital instrument display with a choice of different settings, and you get this F1 inspired steering wheel with all manner of buttons. There's this one that changes the regenerative braking and this one that does the drive mode. There's also this overtake button that gives you maximum power for 10 seconds. But as well as being sporty and exciting, Alpine also says this cabin is designed to be sustainable and practical. It's one of the differentiating factors of this compared with the Mini. Now, these materials are designed to be more sustainably produced. You get Napa leather that's been tanned in a more eco-friendly way, or you can have a more recyclable fabric option with lower spec cars. It's also practical. You get 5 doors as standard, and you get space for adults in the back. It's a 326 litre boot too. Prices haven't been announced as yet, but we do know you'll get a choice of 4 different trim levels. There's the basic GT, which, to be honest, comes with everything you really want. You get heated seats, 19-inch wheels, a reversing camera, and that Google-powered navigation system. Then you can have the GT Premium, which is a slightly more luxurious option with a few creature comforts, or you can have the GT Performance, which gets you that 220 horsepower motor and a few race-inspired goodies. Then at the top of the range is the GTS, which is a kind of mix of the other two with that 220 horsepower motor. Either way, whichever one you choose, this is going to be a really interesting rival to the Mini. We can't wait to have a go in it.